They say power belongs to those who dare, but in this world, it belongs to those who bleed. He was a rising star, Sinanu, the man of the people, but behind every smile was a secret carved in blood. 7 lives, 7 sacrifices, to sit on the highest seat in the land. He offered them all. His cousin, his mentor, even his own bloodline. He won the election, but the dead didn't stay silent. They screamed, cursed him, followed him into power. And just when madness swallowed him whole, a voice rose through the darkness, a blood that speaks, not vengeance, but redemption. They said I was destined for greatness, but they never told me greatness had a body count. My name is Sinanu Kwame, born in the southwest of Nigeria. A lawyer with the kind of mind that made headlines and the kind of smile that melted opposition. I had ambition sharp as a scalpel, a voice like silver, and an eye for power. The nation saw me as a rising star, young, eloquent, uncorrupted, or so they believed. But Nigeria is a land where power isn't gifted, it's harvested in darkness and watered in blood. I was 37 when I received the invitation, a sealed envelope from Chief Udukoya, a retired military general turned political godfather. His name alone moved the stock market. That night, I was driven to a private estate in Ikeja. No security, just silence. Inside, he sat in the shadows, puffing slowly on a thick pipe. He looked at me and asked, "Do you want real power, Sinanu? Not applause, not magazine covers, power." I hesitated, then nodded. My hands didn't shake, but my soul did. He leaned forward, voice like gravel. "Then, understand this, power is never given, it's taken, and the price is blood." I laughed nervously, thought it was metaphor, maybe symbolic. But Chief Udukoya's eyes didn't blink. 7 lives before the elections. Not strangers, blood that cost you. I stood up. "You can't be serious." "I'm offering you your destiny," he said quietly. "But destiny demands sacrifice." I walked out into the dark that night, determined never to return. But 6 months later, after a sudden media scandal painted me as a fraud, my sponsors vanished, my name dragged through mud. I returned, humbled, silenced, willing. The pact began. The first sacrifice was a rival candidate, a man who had bested me during our university debate. His car crashed off the 3rd mainland bridge. Brakes failed, or so the police claimed. His body was never recovered, just the license plate. The second was a journalist. Digging too close to campaign secrets, he vanished after texting his editor, "I've got everything, meet me." He was never seen again. The third was a university friend. He once helped me cheat during my bar exams. Later, he found documents, secrets from my early law career. He emailed me a file marked confidential evidence. 2 hours later, he was shot in an alleyway. His laptop was never recovered. 4 and 5, easier, strangers, ritual killings, masked as random muggings, but their tongues were removed. A faceless intermediary delivered the instructions, and I followed. I told myself they were faceless, nameless. That made it easier. But the 6th, Tunde, my cousin, my blood, he carried my mother's coffin when she died. He protected me when I was broke, loved me like a brother. He believed in me more than I ever imagined in myself. I arranged for him to be at a protest. A riot was triggered. Rubber bullets were fired. An autopsy said he was struck in the chest. Wrong place, wrong time. But I knew the bullet. I signed the order. At his funeral, his mother wailed like the heavens cracked. Tunde was buried with his fist clenched. The pain in his face wouldn't fade, even in death. Only one sacrifice remained, but this time it wasn't a person, it was a choice. They came to me in a dream, voices beneath the floor, whispers through the ceiling. Give up the part of you that loves. I awoke in cold sweat. 3 days later, I found Amaka, my wife, unconscious in a bathtub. Her wrist sliced. The floor red with silence. She survived barely, but her mind never returned. She stared at nothing, dug her nails into her scalp, whispered at night, "They are watching me. They want your crown." I told the press it was exhaustion. The nation sympathized. I felt nothing. Then came election night. Victory. Fireworks exploded over Abuja. The media crowned me the meteor. A landslide win. Crowds chanted my name. Commentators called me the hope of a generation. But when the light went out, silence came. And so did the dead. My son, Kelechi, 6 years old, never woke up. One morning he simply stopped breathing. No fever, no injury, just breathless. Amaka began to scream every night, screaming into mirrors, pulling her hair, nourishing her teeth, slapping shadows that didn't exist. Her doctor said it was trauma, but she kept whispering one thing: "They want your crown." I stopped sleeping. When I closed my eyes, I saw them: the journalist, the friend, the rival, Tunde. They stood at the edge of my bed, silent, pleading, watching. My house became haunted. Blood dripped from the ceilings. Flies buzzed around holy symbols. Mirrors cracked on their own. My reflection started to speak without moving. I drank, I smoked, I sniffed and bathed in money, but nothing drowned the screams. One night I called a prophet, a man known to cleanse haunted houses. He stepped into my mansion, looked around once, and ran screaming. He never returned. And then I broke. I climbed the roof of my office tower in Victoria Island, took a breath, and jumped. But death refused me. I woke up 2 weeks later in a hospital, spine shattered, lungs collapsed, bones broken. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't speak. And then Chaplain Obasi came. An old preacher, no cameras, no glamour, just a Bible and a calm smile. "You killed," he said, with gentle honesty, "but I know a blood that speaks louder than theirs." I spat, laughed bitterly, told him to leave. He didn't. He returned every week, just sat by my bed, humming hymns, reading psalms. One day he dropped a Bible on my lap, red cover, well-worn pages. He pointed to a verse, Hebrews 12 verse 24. "Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and to the blood that speaks better things than the blood of Abel." I read it, then I read it again, and the dam inside me broke. For the first time in years, I cried. Not politician tears, real ones. I wept for Tunde, for Kelechi, for Amaka, for myself, for the boy I used to be. I asked God for forgiveness, not just from him, but from every soul that haunted my night. And then I made a decision. On the first anniversary of my election, I called a press conference. The nation tuned in, expecting a policy speech, but what they saw was me, hobbling on a cane, flanked by prison guards. "My name is Sinano Kwame," I said. "I am a murderer, a liar, a man haunted by blood, and today I confess." I told them everything: names, dates, locations, rituals. The secret society of blood and power. Chief Udukoya fled the country that night. Parliament split. Investigations erupted. Protests flooded the streets. I was sentenced to life in prison. But behind bars, I found peace. I began preaching, not for crowds, not for cameras, but for souls. I led Bible studies, baptized murderers in plastic buckets, gave away my food, memorized the Gospels, and every night I slept. No nightmares, no ghosts, just silence and grace. Years later, a young inmate, now free, was asked in a documentary, "Did you know Sinanu Kwame?" He smiled. He died in peace, taught me how to read, prayed for my mother, told me no blood brings peace, except his. Today, my grave lies in the corner of the prison yard. No statue, no fanfare, no wreath. Just 6 words carved into it. No blood, no glory, but grace. Because in a world where thrones are bought with death, only one blood was shed for peace, and it wasn't mine, it was his, Jesus Christ.
Please subscribe to watch more of our videos. Thank you.